Have you noticed it's way easier to buy a bag of ultra-processed snacks than to eat a real meal? And then everyone tells you it's your willpower that's broken. What if it's not you? What if the food environment is designed to make the cheap, tasty, overeatable stuff the default? Today we're going to see, we've actually fixed food once before, and we could do it again. This chapter's main idea is simple. Ultra-processed foods, UPFs, are a problem, but they become a huge problem when they're also cheap, everywhere, and aggressively marketed. So the question isn't, why don't people make better choices? The question is, why are the worst choices the easiest ones? And the cool part, price, marketing, and availability are the parts we can change with policy. Let's go back to the early 1900s in the US. There's a chemist named Harvey Washington Wiley. He works for the Department of Agriculture, and he's suspicious. Processed foods are making people sick, sometimes immediately. So he does something wild. He recruits a bunch of young men, clerks, civil servants, and feeds them normal meals, plus small doses of common food chemicals, stuff used back then to keep milk from spoiling or to make ketchup look red. Newspapers called them the Poison Squad. Everything they ate was weighed, their blood was tested, even their poop was analyzed, and Wiley slowly raised the dose of additives. Result, even at low doses, some of these totally fine additives cause stomach pain, nausea, mental fog. At higher doses, people dropped out. So now there was proof. The food industry was selling adulterated, sometimes toxic food. But industry fought back, hard. They lobbied, they tried to discredit Wiley. Nothing moved. Wanderbriats. Nothing new, until 1905, when Upton Sinclair published The Jungle, exposing how disgusting and unsafe the meat industry was. Public outrage exploded. Other countries even threatened to stop importing US meat. So, in 1906, the US passed two major laws: the Meat Inspection Act and the Pure Food and Drug Act, sometimes called Wiley's Law. That was the moment the government said, okay, we can't just let companies sell whatever if it makes people sick. So we've done this before. We've changed the food system when it was clearly harming people. Fast forward to now. We don't usually die from acute food poisoning anymore. That part worked. But we've entered what the authors call an era of chronic food poisoning. Food that doesn't kill you tomorrow, but raises your risk of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer over years. Why? Because now, most calories in rich countries come from ultra-processed foods. Shelf-stable, cheap, energy-dense, engineered to be super tasty. And here's the key. It's not just the recipe, it's the environment. These foods are cheaper than fresh food. They're everywhere. In schools, at checkout, in apps. They're marketed especially to kids. And healthy food isn't promoted the same way. So if you make the world look like this, junk is easy. Real food is inconvenient. You don't need every individual to fail. The system pushes everyone in the same direction. The authors say, we don't have to ban all processed foods. That would be overkill. Instead, do what Wiley did. Define the problem clearly and go after the worst offenders. Their proposal, target ultra-processed foods that are both energy-dense and hyper-palatable. And that don't meet the upcoming FDA definition of healthy, plus a few categories we already know are bad in excess. Sugary drinks, some processed meats. In other words, not your whole grain bread or your hummus. But yes, sodas, candies, many packaged snacks, some frozen meals, the stuff we mindlessly overeat. Once you know what you're targeting, you can regulate it. Here's what the chapter says we can do, and other countries are already doing parts of this. 1. Stop harmful marketing to kids. Chile, Mexico, the UK have put warning labels or time restrictions on junk food ads. No more cartoon tigers selling sugar bombs all day. 2. Front-of-pack labels. Clear warnings when a food is high in sugar, salt, or saturated fat, so companies can't hide behind "made with real fruit." 3. Make unhealthy food less attractive, and healthy food cheaper. Tax sugary drinks, chips, candy, and use that money to subsidize fruits, veg, and healthy ready-made meals. If junk gets pricier and real food gets cheaper, behavior changes. 4. Reformulate the foods people actually eat. Not healthy cookies. But, since everyone eats pizza, let's make pizza lower in sodium, more whole grain, actual cheese, actual tomato. If every brand has to do it, nobody loses market share. 5. Fix the public food environment. Schools, hospitals, government programs should serve mostly minimally processed foods. Brazil and Japan already do this. That protects the most vulnerable people. 6. More transparency on additives. Right now in the US, thousands of chemicals get into the food supply through a loophole called GRAS, generally recognized as safe, often self-declared by companies. The chapter says, no, companies should prove safety before adding stuff to food. And, finally, this will face massive lobbying. Just like in Wiley's time, food is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. They're not evil, they're just built to protect profit. That's why public pressure matters. So, to sum up, our current food environment makes the unhealthy choice the easy choice. We've actually fixed this kind of thing before, in 1906, when food was making people sick fast. Now we need the 21st century version: rules, taxes, labels, and support for healthy, convenient food. Because the goal isn't to make people feel guilty for grabbing nuggets after work. The goal is to change the system so the easiest food is also the safest food.